Spencer Oliver, alongside myself and Simon this Thursday lunchtime as we talk boxing live on talkSPORT. We're also live on YouTube and Facebook. Watch us, why don't you? Spencer's with Simon and myself till 1. It would be wrong to go today without mentioning Martin Bakole, Spence. He thrust himself amongst the world's leading heavyweight contenders earlier this month and very much derailed the progress of rising American hope Jared Anderson. What do you think of him?
What a performance. Jared Anderson was highly touted as being the next guy to take the heavyweight baton.
Smashed him to pieces.
Bakole absolutely annihilated him, smashed him to pieces. And Martin Bakole is the guy that is the chairman of the Who Needs Him, Who Wants Him club. No one wants to go near him because he's that good. I've seen him up close in the gym. I've seen him sparring with all the big names. Trust me, the kid can fight. But he's now earning his right. Simon is now WBA number 1. I think WBC number 3. He's knocking on the door. I think there's been rumours circulating. Is he going to go over to China? Will he fight Zhele Zhang in China? Well, I think Joseph Parker's now activated that rematch clause, so that takes him out of the equation. But where does Martin Bakole go next? Because who wants him? That is the truth of it. He's that good.
A great fight for him would be someone like Edget Caballero, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Put him in with him, who's knocked out Frank Sanchez recently, and knocked out the big Russian. I don't think he'd want that fight, but it's an interesting one for Ben Shalom because he gets a foothold in the heavyweight division. Because at this moment in time, Frank has all that sort of monopolised, and so does Eddie. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, Ben's in with the Saudis. If Bakole's at the front of the heavyweight queue now as an opportunity, it gives him even more power and more opportunity to embolden himself. But Bakole is an interesting fighter.
If he's hot property, Spencer, who truly could claim to be the future at this stage of the heavyweight division?
Moses Itauma. That's not even a conversation. I think that kid is the next superstar of heavyweight boxing. He's brilliant. Southpaw stance, controls the space really well, wicked with his hands. Marius back last time out, a guy very tough, very durable. People expected him to give Itauma rounds, and Itauma just took him apart in 2 rounds, but it was punch perfect. Shot selection is brilliant. He is the next superstar of heavyweight boxing, without a doubt.
Well, I spoke to Itauma over in Riyadh some time ago, just a few weeks ago, and I was putting it to him. How do you feel about being dubbed the future of the heavyweight division, the next big thing?
People's expectations got nothing to do with me. Like, I know what I think of myself, and I just got to go out and prove that. It's nice. It's nice to hear that people have got such high hopes for me, but yeah, again, that does me no favours. Like, at the end of the day, they can't jump in the ring with me. So it's like, it's nice to hear, but I kind of have to ignore it, because if I think that I'm the future, then I feel like I've achieved something that I haven't achieved yet. So I'm kind of put that at the back of my mind and just carry on doing my job.
You're 19, but when you first began boxing, you hated it. Is that right?
No, I didn't hate it, but I was like, I threw up with my first couple of sessions. I was like, I don't know if this sport is for me, but it turns out it is, isn't it? I've just loved being in the gym when I was younger and just messed around and got good at it, and now I'm here.
You see, everybody will want a headline. Are you still aiming to be the youngest world heavyweight champion since Mike Tyson?
Francis did say it the other day, it's like, when like a kid, obviously footballer growing up, like, he's not going to just say, I want to play for the EFL or something, you get what I mean? He wants to play for Chelsea and whatever. Like me, I was very, very unaware. When I first turned professional, I was very unaware of the things outside the boxing, outside the ring, sorry. That my job that I can do is only get in the ring and fight. And I feel like I'm doing that job to the best of my ability, and I feel like I'm definitely manoeuvring up the rankings quickly. Like, obviously now I've got the WBO title, I'm ranked in there. And if it comes, it comes. If it don't, it don't. Listen, it was a goal. It was a goal. I'd love to aim it. If not, on to the next one. I've got a goal in my head, but I'm going to see if there's going to make a difference if I don't tell anyone.
He feels, I understand why people are looking at me thinking I can make the headlines, but at the same time, you know,
he wants to stay grounded. Listen, he's a 19-year-old kid. Me and Simon were talking off air just then. He's a very mature kid for 19. I know what the goal is. I know what Frank Warren wants. I know what he wants, and that's to become the youngest ever world heavyweight champion. Mike Tyson currently holds that of 20 years of age, and I saw Frank Warren just calling out, actually, saying Moses wants Joseph Parker Joseph Parker, and you're looking at interim titles then, and that might be the gateway into going in to win one of these world titles before and break Mike Tyson's record. But that's the confidence they've got in his ability. You know, whether that's the right move, whether that's pushing him too soon. Joseph Parker, a great fighter in his own right, and he's on a run at the moment. But that shows you, Simon, the confidence in his ability, not just with him, but with the team around him as well. The kid can fight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and he can also speak for himself as well. When someone answers a question, you know, other people's expectations of me have nothing to do with me. I think that shows you the level of his own thinking, his belief system. He's not going to get caught up in it. I mean, he is a very impressive young man and a very impressive fighter. I don't like him fighting Joseph Parker at this stage. I think it's just a tad too early because Joseph Parker has got the smarts and has done very well recently. But if he were to go and fight Joseph Parker and to deal with him comprehensively, then it would just explode the opportunity potentially for him to get to fight for a world title inside the time that Tyson. I think he's going to be hard pushed to get a world title shot by the time he's 20. Or even, I think it was 21 when Tyson won the world title.
Yeah, I think Tyson was 20, but it depends on what month that falls in and whatnot as well.
And son of Francis Warren looking after Moses Itauma.
Yeah.
Big things expected of him, Simon. I have to say, he is so impressive. As you say with that, you know.
There were big things expected very early of Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 years ago, people were writing articles that forget Fury, forget Joshua, this is the kid. And it may well be right.
Moses has more potential than Daniel did there, for sure. Like, I believe he'll be 100%, he will win a world title. I do believe that. I've seen many fighters at a certain age, and you look at Daniel, who was a great young fighter himself. Moses has something special, though.
But if you look at this next generation, we are about to see the Furies and the Joshuas and the Usyk sooner rather than later depart. And behind that is a vacuum. There isn't an elite triumvirate like there was in tennis. There isn't, you know, Joshua, Fury and Usyk. If you look in the heavyweight division, what are we looking at?
Yeah, true.
So that will be a vacuum that can be filled by people like Moses Itauma.
Simon, the last time Eddie Hearn was in the studio, apart from the fact that your chat with him that day, if we can call it a chat, got an enormous audience. It was billed as Hearn versus Jordan and all that. Eddie Hearn is going to join us live in studio next Tuesday. And I think a lot of watchers gone under the bridge since then. And there's a fair bit of mutual respect flying about, is there?
Respect's all relative, isn't it? I maintain the points, the things that I said, despite the consistent protestation that I don't know what I'm talking about and the things get borne out. We sit here 2 years down the road. How's his mate Conor? How was the advice and the care that was put into Conor Benn's career? How's that worked out for him? Because that was the genesis of the arguments. And most of the time, what Eddie does very well is answer a completely different question than the one you've asked him.
Right. Okay. So not much has
changed.
changed.
Listen. If
it will be a different.
If you
tone.
can build a business alongside your father that's worth the best part of £1 billion and do it across a multitude of sports and make each one of these sports better by association in terms of the representation, then you have to be admired. So the fact that they've done darts, they've done snooker, the boxing world, you have to admire it. It doesn't mean you have to like the person, but you can admire their achievements.
Well, let's admire Eddie when he's in with us next Tuesday. Eddie Hearn
you don't need to do that. He'll do that for himself.
Eddie will be in studio with Simon and myself on Tuesday. Spencer Oliver, thanking you so much, mate, for your contribution as always today.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.